Stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
A loss of a yard there to start out. That leads to a 2nd and 11. They'll go again with Sanders. And he'll be tackled at about the 35. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. And he'll manage to pick up about 4. It's 2nd down. But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
And they'll start this drive just across the 30. Pretty nice work on the return. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came out late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
From down at the 12, it's 1st and 10. To throw, it's Brady. He's got Brown on the out route complete. And it looks like he'll be just a yard shy of the 5 here as he's out at the 6. 2nd and 4. They could still get a first down without scoring. Brady going to throw. And they're going to get to him. A sack. Sack back at the 9-yard line. Throwing is Brady on 3rd down. And that is caught for an AFC touchdown. Antonio Gates, a 9-yard touchdown grab. And the AFC has taken the lead. Vinatieri able to tack on the PAT. And that makes it a 7-3 lead. The drive summary that time, 5 plays. And it ends with an AFC touchdown. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Fielded just outside the goal line. And able to take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. Last time out, you remember their drive stalled, but thanks to their kicker, booted a long field goal to at least get them 3. Now here they'll try to do better and find the end zone.
And in our experience, how much fun is it for coaches to know that they've got a kicker who can nail it from long distance? Now, the hard part is, as an offensive play caller, you don't want that in your head too much where you're relying on it, and he goes out and gets the job done for them. But I'm quite sure he would be content to just kick extra points from here on out. Yeah,
absolutely no question. I think his teammates would be okay with him just kicking the extra points as well. Favre. Pressure, and the AFC gets to him for the sack. And that'll bring up 4th down on the big sack with a loss of 5. Here's Mitch Wishnowski now on to punt. Back deep, 2-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. Taken from just outside the 30. A nice punt, but a good run back as well, 13 yards. And the AFC will take over 1st and 10. The offense for the AFC set to go now. A long drive last time out for this offense, Charles. If you remember, they started basically in the shadows of their own end zone, marched it down the field, and a lot of that was through the passing game.
And, partner, as a former defensive back, I'm having almost a physical reaction watching what's happening right now. But let's give credit where it's due, because they've done an excellent job moving the ball through the air. Secondary getting picked apart pass by pass. Obviously, they need to make some adjustments there on the back end.
And because offensively, we know that they're not going to be shy about throwing that football. But, Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, in 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date for the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
So the ball position now at the 3. Here's 2nd and goal. And Brady's throw there, incomplete.
I see the surprise in your face there, partner. That is a rare incompletion from him. He's been on point this entire game.
He has percentage completion-wise way up, not that time. A big play forthcoming. Here's 3rd and goal. They'll run. This is Allen. They push forward, but I don't think it's enough. He's going to be about a yard short. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts, as the stoppage will come with a little under a minute to go in this first half. They'll run for it. This is Allen. And I'm not sure he got there. Did they stop him? They did. They stopped him up short on 4th and goal from the 1. And this NFC defense comes up big time with a goal line stand. And defensively, they were ready for that, a full-on blitz on 4th down, and they stop him short of the marker.
Oh, and someone's got to feel really good about that, and that's the defensive coordinator. He dialed up a great run blitz defense, and they hit it just right. Stack that thing up. They're going to feel awesome going to the bench after that big play.
The first down run got 5. Here's 2nd and 5. Throwing is Favre. That's to the right side, complete to Kittle. He's got his first catch here before halftime, and it goes for a first down. Here's Favre to throw. A quick throw knocked away and incomplete.
To this point, I've been impressed with the work defensively. They have not allowed a lot of receivers to run free. And there's another example, another incompletion.
Incomplete, but a penalty flag is down in the backfield. Let's get the call. So apparently some grabbing there in the middle of the O-line.
I've often wondered why that doesn't happen more often for guys that play center. Having to snap the ball and then trying to get your hands into the proper position, that's difficult to do. He got caught that time.
And they'll bring him down right around the 13. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts, as it'll come with 15 seconds to play in the first half. They'll come to the line here needing 9 yards to pick up the first. This time they stay on the ground, and he is going to lose yardage here. All right, so they got that one, Charles, against the center.
And let's remember how difficult it is for the center, because remember, he's got to snap the ball to put the play in motion, and sometimes you got that big guy on your nose. You got sometimes where he's coming at you at an angle. It's a difficult job for him to snap the ball and then execute his block.
And they're going to take a timeout defensively. So with 4th down coming up, they go ahead and burn it and say we'll see what happens. And the NFC punt team out there now as he'll kick it away for the second time. Taking a couple yards shy of midfield. And he's out of bounds as he gets this down to the 45. They'll net only 35 here following a 43-yard boot, 8-yard return. And there'll be time for maybe one final play before halftime. And I don't think this has the carry. It does not. It's no good. Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post